Okay, welcome back. And since we insist on counting the minutes for you, it's 8:14, and we're inching ever so closely to 10 o'clock when the big do shall come to a culmination. We're speaking about so many citizens of the continent and indeed of the world that have come to Nigeria. And I think our guest, Dr. Kadi Esiwaju, of the University of Lagos, he's been telling us that the sheer number of dignitaries, African dignitaries, in fact, that's quite reassuring considering some aspects of, our national life following this election where we're still, we don't have our hands out of the water, to speak metaphorically, yet. But look at all the people coming in. It means that, look, they've seen enough. They know Nigeria. And without calling it one way or the other, let's make a move for progress. Let's move forward. We're going to Nigeria. It's almost as if everybody spoke collectively in that sort of a way, isn't it?
And it speaks to the need for the president now to know that the world is witnessing the promise is given to Nigerians. And that as he cannot afford to disappoint the Nigerian people, it cannot also afford to disappoint the world. Because any crisis in Nigeria is a pressure to the world.
Absolutely.
It's a pressure to the whole world. Look at the number of people elsewhere doing this, being accused of drugs. If the home front had been so good, will they be there? Will they be there? In terms of funding intellectual activities, the countries of the world fund research. They contribute into the knowledge industry. If you're in the university system today, for you to get any grant that makes sense, okay, except for my university and a few others that give internal grant almost has foreign coloration. You need to move out of the country. And so you go to Germany, you go to America, you go to Switzerland to get money to research into even African culture. This must change.
Right.
The intellectual community, the knowledge industry must be funded. When you fund knowledge, research activities will be conducted. Then the intellectual community will document problem-solving thesis. And so when you are in crisis, all you need to do is go there. Why do we have this number of universities in Nigeria when we're not funding them to do research? Okay? It's part of the culture that must change. University is not for degree. When you train somebody in the university, he studies sociology, mass communication, philosophy, only to end up in a company selling recharge card. I mean, that's a waste of human resources. And it's happening because we're not funding knowledge. It's high time we started doing so.
Indeed. And whereas you are talking about the apex of the knowledge chain, how about the very beginning, talking about primary education? I'm really talking about the numbers of children in schools in Nigeria. Because
out of school as well.
Yes. Well, of course, it implies that if you... What I'm implying is that, as you know, that so few of them in school, looking at the pool from which you've taken those few. Now, they're not in school for a number of reasons. This is one thing that that this administration and those after it will have to address, I will imagine.
Definitely.
Because with education, then people can think better. And perhaps they're not open to some of the quote-unquote insulting propositions that are made to them and that they think are kosher, which are not.
Therefore, it can be top-down. It can also be down-top, as the case may be. If you want to start from the top and you make university education what it should be, the graduates from that system will never give birth to children who will not go to school.
That's right. That's right.
But if you are starting from the bottom also, you are still taking the other approach. Whichever way, it's like the Yoruba proverb, Karosho Modi, Karu Dimasho. Do you understand? Let us focus on the ball. And education is one of the key things that this administration must address in a holistic manner. And I hope it should be able to do so.
Well, he has spoken to the matter of education when he was pronounced the president-elect in his acceptance speech. He said he was going to ensure that 4 years is 4 years. Matters of strike, things that would be of the past, and talked about ensuring that students get credits and all of those. They are also part of what is in his document, Renewed Hope document. I wonder how you see that changing the landscape or narrative of our education sector if implemented.
If it is sincerely promised and it is meticulously implemented, it is going to not only change but revolutionize the system. Look at the number of universities in Nigeria. It is not Nigerian citizens that should be going to Ghana, Togo, Republic of Benin for education. It should be the other way around.
That used to happen years ago.
It happened,
Yeah.
and it should continue to happen. But where something as little as electricity cannot work, nobody will want to risk coming to your country for education. Because you look at it just as electricity. That electricity has implication for productivity in the university. It has implication for security of lives and property. It has implication for the quality of life that you live as students and as researchers in the university system. So they are linked together. These issues have to be addressed holistically. So if the promise is anything to go by and it is followed, meticulously, it's going to change and bring a revolution into the whole educational sector in Nigeria, and we're going to have it in a better way. I mean, one of the things people say is that you remember Buhari administration for the longest ASU strike in the history of the world, the longest lecturer strike in the history of the world. That's a good thing to remember an administration for. And I hope this new one will not inherit that from the political party.
Exactly. And well, again, I hope our hopes are not misplaced, because just like our security hopes were, whatever happened to it, happened to it. Talking about,
because we got it all wrong from the beginning. We thought security was fighting. And so we brought a fighter to come and lead security.
But as you
and we collapsed.
That's not the way.
You know, in 2015, when I get talking among colleagues and, even friends, I said, the major problem of 2015 was because we were in search of a holy man to fix a country in crisis. No. If we have a university as a system and teaching, research are not going on well, these are the two reasons you establish a university well. I say, okay, the only way to fix this problem is to bring a man who knows God, who has no sin. He has never stolen money before, he's not corrupt, to be the vice chancellor of the university. You are not only going to kill the university, you are going to destroy it completely. Because that's not the role. So in 2015, we had economic problem, security problem. We kept looking for the man who was holy. And that holy man, which existed nowhere, was manufactured for us in person of Buhari. And today, that's what we see. And that's why there's a mismatch between what the people expected him to come and do and what he, on his own, chose to do. And I asked myself, Yori, what are you going to boast for to me by saying that you came, you built road, you came, you built bridges? Is it not just about allocating money to do it? So what's the prize in that? No, there's no pride in that.
Really?
Leadership is all about sitting down to critically think towards addressing the problems of the society. Unemployment, insecurity. It takes wisdom to do all this. But to construct road takes no wisdom. It takes creativity. But to Lagos Ibadan Road, who can do that? If they give you money today, Yori, you will get the best contractor to fix Lagos Ibadan Road. We're talking about leaders who have the intellectual capacity to think and solve problems. Right. That's why he is there.
So we expect creative approaches from Tinubu.
Exactly. And I want to say emphatically that from his pedigree, the problem with the other man is that he never had a pedigree. People just manufactured him and imposed upon the polity. But from the Lagos idea that I've seen, Tinubu has the capacity to do it. Whether he's going to do it or not is what I don't know. Okay. And that's why I'm saying we must play our role as civil society, as pressmen, so that we pressurize and we set agenda. But that doesn't have the capacity, he does.
Tinubu in another 2 hours, 3 hours, will be president. So virtually, Touchwood is president already. The nature, the kind of man, I think city boy, people refer to as city boy, that speaks to his attitude, how very close to the grassroots, to the ground that he is. And I don't know, this is not a matter of comparing and contrasting, but, maybe other leaders are not really of that kind of a bent. They might not know the streets, so not know the cities. They might be in their ivory towers because, but you have these kind of leaders. There was a fire share of corn-eating fame at one time, so everybody has their own little thing. But Tinubu is seen as, even so much so that some people nickname him, I don't know if it's irreverent or not, city boy. Does this key into how he will understand the very people? Because you see, you're running Nigeria. It's really the people. It's the lives of the people, as you've been emphasizing, with their jobs, with their work, with their quality of life and all of that.
Definitely, it does help greatly when you understand the street. When you take a university degree and you also have another degree in what I call University of the Streets, you need to know what is going on the street to be able to fix problems, to be able to understand the problems that you want to fix, and more importantly, to be able to pick those who have the capacity to solve the problems.
Okay, let me barge in now. I'm very sorry for doing so. It's 8:25, and we'll take a break now. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're the veteran. So they know that.
Can you imagine? But they shouldn't be doing that.
That's why you are here.
Ayodele.
We don't know.
Ayodele.
Hello?
Ayodele, Shongbo. This is testing. Testing.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Ayo. Testing. You're in Lagos. Ayo, can you hear me?
Okay.
There's a feedback. It's gone off again.
It's not right. We can't hear you. What is the problem? Well, I'm sure all the engineers will be on it.
Lift the microphone.
He's also saying hello.
Ask what's asking for the question you want.
That audio is not good. We heard something, but it's not clear audio. Ayodele, can you hear me? You're in Lagos.
On the camera.
Ayo can't hear us. Emma gbewa lobe yen o. Emma ka mess kini up o. Emma mess kini up o. Hello sir, Niran.
Try.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
He can't hear us.
I hope this is not to the public. Okay.
Welcome back. It's just a minute before 8:30, and we'll cross over to Abuja, where our Ayodele Ozubaku is waiting at Eagle Square to give us the lie of the ground there.
Right. This is the D-Day. Started in the decided to go, and people are into the, and what we can see here is a very, very difficult process. The difficult process is what I told you yesterday, that if you have an invitation, you have to go to Old Paris station, and they will now be here. Now, getting to the one thing you are going to see is this van. You will not be allowed to make a direct access to this place. So one thing you are going to see is they have this van as something that it's going to, it has a frisker, and you have to pass through this van one by one. You can see that the process is quite cumbersome, and guests must be before 30 according to the schedule of the program. And this program is set by what we have from across the country. Invitation are gathered here. Of 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it's a very, very tough day in terms of security. People are not allowed access 10 kilometers before the Eagle Square. So you have to walk. You have to the Eagle Square, and vehicular movements have been restricted in and out of the Eagle Square. So it's the federal government that has provided for people to actually access the Eagle Square. As you can see, men are coming inside, and they are coming inside. Are going to lead the.
There are soldiers guarding you.
Well, first of all, we got to apologize for the quality of the sound there. Clearly, it's not all that it could be or should be, and that has always been. But our engineers are on it, and as soon as it sort of normalizes, we'll get back to you. But I was just giving us a bit more perspective to the security situation and how seriously this is being taken. Now we understand that that vehicle, that black vehicle, has been sort of, it's something like, this thing they do in planes where between your, boarding pass area or whatever, into the plane. Yes, yes. So everybody's being scanned there. I believe this is the first.
Yes.
Because, I believe this is the first, but, we were even guessing that that thing looks like a bomb squad kind of a vehicle, but they're now showing that everybody has to pass through it. So you're going to be screened. Finally, we're taking security seriously, because I guess people, where people have known people to take security as seriously as, something like this is in the U.S., where, in fact, they come with their own people altogether. They don't depend on whatever security is complementary. But so this probably is, what does this say? It says in the first instance that yes, this is an important occasion. The situation is what it is in the country, but also that the president and the president-elect must be protected at all costs.
Yeah, they represent the symbol of our nation as of today. So we must do everything to protect them and to protect ourselves as well. I think the security there has to be this high, given the series of agitations, contestations that surround the election that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One thing Nigerians need to learn about their democracy is the need to submit to that hegemonic flow once a case is decided. irrespective of your political affiliation. You don't have to like APC, you don't have to like Bola, but in the wisdom of the judiciary, which represents our country, a statement has been made and a presidential candidate has been declared winner indeed and in truth. And then everybody should queue behind. Because as I said the other time, whatever resources is our resources.
Absolutely.
The leadership is not going to be on those who support him alone. If they increase my salary today, it's not because I campaign for Tinubu. It's because I'm a member of this country. I think that is what I want Nigerians to see. Beyond the party, beyond the ethnic group, beyond the primordial sentiment, beyond individual presence, that is the beginning of security. Once we have that mind, our security problem will be minimal, as it were.
Okay, let's take this report that was put together by our Nifemi Gutoye.
The long wait is over. 3 months after the most keenly contested presidential election in Nigeria's history, attention is now turned to Eagle Square, venue of the 2023 presidential inauguration ceremony. Well, this place is very historic. The Fourth Republic practically began here way back in 1999 when General Absalami Abubakar handed over to President Olusegun Obasanjo. And from that time till now, we've had some 3 commanders of chief: Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, Muhammadu Buhari, and of course, today we'll be hosting and seeing for ourselves the handover to the 6th democratically elected president of Nigeria in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's getting ready, it's getting busier. Security here is tight. Behind me is the stage box, and we are looking forward to perhaps the very first inauguration ceremony with the highest number of foreign dignitaries. We've been following them closely since yesterday, and we have heads of states, heads of government, heads of delegations from across the globe that have touched down Abuja and who are going to grace this occasion. Guests are expected to start coming in from 8:30, but the program itself is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. We'll keep you abreast with the development from Eagle Square. Nifemi Ogutoye live for you from Abuja.
Okay, that's our Nifemi Oguntoye then. And of course, we've been flagging it there. 10 o'clock is the time that we're working to, and we have 8:37 now. As I said, it's very, very important. We're counting it down. All the minutes, just waiting for 10, for 9:59, and then 10 when we can begin the processes. So, well, Kade was just telling us about why the security is going to have to be like that. But beyond this, we just hope that he hits. We know he will hit the ground running. The president.
We don't know. We hope.
You say we hope. Well, a lot of people feel that this man has been preparing for 30 years. Remember back in the day when politics, the ban on politics was lifted in what republic was that? And the very next day, Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory had reeled out his whole paraphernalia of roadmap and all of that. So what you are saying that, look, let's just err on the side of caution. Let's not.
We have to be cautious.
We
hope and we believe.
We hope and we believe.
There's no way we can know.
Okay, you're right.
We believe. And I'm confident also in saying this. But I want to run away from the word no, because I don't know.
Because nobody knows anything at the end of the day. I get you.
But he had said that he is going to make tough decisions when it comes to governance. And I am wondering what kinds of decisions you expect him to take that would be tough in that sense.
That's one of the things I'm impressed about among the speeches of the president so far. A leader must take tough
President-elect.
Yeah, a president-elect. Thanks for the caution too. Must take tough decision. And that is what I was referring to the other time when I was talking about capacity and ability to mentally dissect problems and decide on what to do. It's not just award road contracts. That's not leadership. Anybody can do that. So I am happy that the president, even right from the outset, is saying that he will be taking tough decisions. Now, what kind of tough decisions do we expect Mr. President to say? Now, we're setting an agenda. We don't know his mind, but we're setting an agenda. Number one, economy should be the priority. Rationally speaking, men are economic beings. Once they are settled within a fair economy where the reward system is not skewed, they will be mentally stable, psychologically stable, and their tendency to go into illegitimate behavior will be very much reduced. So taking tough decisions in the economy includes taking those decisions that will ease pressure on the naira, so that we can have an economy that goes in parity with the development of the country. It's going to be tough because there are cabals everywhere who are benefiting directly or otherwise from the contradictions and the arrangements that you have. Name it. Fuel subsidy, importation, contract award and all this thing. The president must be ready to step on toes. That's what leaders are supposed to be. Tough decision also must be taken towards the political level. The election that brought in Tinubu might not be the best. It doesn't have to be. There's no perfect election anywhere in the world. But you must cling into the wisdom of Yaradua when he was elected. And he said, and I quote, that I know the election that brought me here got flawed. But now that I'm here, I'm going to institute policies and frameworks and even make laws to correct the anomaly. That is how you evolve a system. So to continually evolve our electoral system, all the problems that greeted his own election must be corrected while he's in office. It's a tough decision to make because in doing so, you're going to, Then the third one, again, we are setting an agenda. You and I know that there is over duplication of ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria. Even at the law enforcement level, Nigeria is the only country where I see close to 25 uniform people doing almost the same thing. This has to be checked. As it is in the police, it is in the army, it is in the road safety and all these things. Many of these departments and ministries are duplicated unnecessarily. We need to cut them down. People are going to lose jobs. But then we must creatively, provide alternatives that will be productive in other sectors, as it were. So when you go on the road, you see uniform agent 1 doing this, you see agent 2 doing this, and they're asking for the same paper, taking the same caution. And then you're going to ask, why must you duplicate your function? So the Orasoye, committee had a report.
Yes.
I think the president must look into this very, very seriously. And I must come back to my constituency. And of course, not because I just belong there. You don't need the wisdom of Solomon to know that education is the bedrock of any society.
Yes.
The knowledge industry must be visited, again, with tough decisions that will create positive outcomes.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say, did you have a report on the economy that you...
Yes, I was going to say that because he mentioned the economy, and I think that the Nigerians have been speaking on their expectations of the incoming administration with regards to that. And our correspondent, Lara Folayo, went on the streets to speak with some Nigerians. Let's just have that report. When we return, we'll have that conversation in-depthly.
The present administration assumed office 8 years ago with campaign promises bordering around infrastructure development, job creation, improved credit access, impressive real GDP growth, agricultural development, and stabilizing the naira, amongst others. As at 2015, inflation was in single digits of 9%. The naira at that time hovered at about 197 to the dollar. Unemployment rate was also 10.4%. 8 years later, inflation is 22.2%. The naira stands at 748 naira to the dollar. Unemployment at the last count was at a 13-year high of 33.3%, and there are projections by experts it will rise to 40.6% this year. Public debt also stands at 46.25 trillion naira. Reports show at least 40% of the country's population live below the poverty line, while nearly 12% of the world population in extreme poverty lives in Nigeria. The country's multidimensional poverty index also indicates 63% of the population is multidimensionally poor.
Government is work in progress. Development is work in progress. Some of this work you see physically, empirically. Some of them you see vis-a-vis policy.
To the average Nigerian on the street, surviving has not been easy, and the perception is that the authorities have not done enough.
If you have 100,000 naira in the bank now, it's better you use it for something rather than keep it there, because on daily basis, the naira keeps on shedding its value.
Before 8 years ago, I'm a full housewife, I don't work, and I live large. But now I have to come out to work.
When it comes to agriculture, I think the government really did well when it comes to agriculture. Farmers have been empowered, and in that I can really comment on the government.
Even what happened just of recent, that in our own country, we are not able to access our own money in the bank. Just for the frustration, a lot of people died.
The country now has a president-elect who is set to take over the nation's affairs. Some of his economic campaign promises include improved access to credits by businesses, job creation, more exports than imports, agriculture and infrastructure enhancement, as well as harnessing the digital economy.
What this new government should do and can do is to basically focus on food security. I think that is where, the country has a lot of fault lines.
The common man says the campaign promises are not new, but is hopeful of seeing the new government hit the ground running and walk its talk.
With what the incoming president have done, that he was Lagos State Governor. So we believe, I for one, I'm a graduate, I don't have work. I believe in him, that him coming, I might have work.
Let government be very proactive. Let government be sincere. Let there be sincerity of purpose. If you are going to bring up a policy, it may be injurious, it may be very tough on people. But if you come out clean, open, people know that, okay, this is what is going to happen.
Infrastructure, fighting corruption and insecurity that are critical to economic growth and development, which they would want the incoming administration to take very seriously. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, thank you very much, Lara Afolayo. Well, that, short report there on the economy and also the expectations of Nigeria. This is something that we're going to have to really, we as the nation, but then President-elect and when he becomes president, as well as his deputy, are going to have to be working at it. And by the way, live pictures, we're moving ever so, surely towards that 10 o'clock deadline. It's just 12 minutes to 9 right now, 10 o'clock. So you can see the state of preparedness. All of this is leading up to 10 o'clock that we've been serenading all morning. Looks very sharp and befitting, as should be the case.
Colorful too.
Yes, I think I think we can see the Navy. I think that's the Army in red. But there are specialists over there in Abuja who will be giving us the running commentary when the time comes.
It's a whole industry.
It really is, and we were speaking earlier also before talking about the economy. I think Ayo was trying to give us an insight into what the security entails, and we've spoken about that. Everybody's going to have to come through that van into here. But back to the economy. And Kayode, expectations are very, very high. You spoke about this earlier. Expectations are very high. And it's, oh, that's a lovely picture, isn't it? Okay, those people just, we're going to see many aspects of our, military today. So, as I was saying, that bit about people having an expectation, it's not unreasonable because it's a new president, it's a new person in office, and it's like turning over a page. And so people will be looking from day one for things to be right. I think people have to know that it's going to take a bit longer than that, but not forever. That's the more reasonable approach. But look at that lady in that report who said, I'm a graduate, I don't have a job, for instance. This is the very kind of thing that Tinubu has said in the past, that we're going to have to remove that. We're going to have to scratch all of that out. And I guess people can just wish him the best and hope that he can really deliver on his words, because people are going to hold him. And earlier we were talking about tough decisions. Nobody spoke about removing the subsidy on fuel. I don't know where we are on that, because Babatunde Raji Fashola has said that. What are you people talking about? The thing has been removed.
Only yesterday.
It has been removed. So that's an interesting one right there.
It is.
Because that caught, at least caught me, unawares.
You see, it's been quite shady how the Nigerian political affairs have been run for the past 8 years. Just imagine, a government is taking a position that they will remove subsidy. An insider in that government is saying that this subsidy has been removed. If there's a confusion at that point, what do you think will happen to you and I? And that's why I cannot speak authoritatively on this issue, because even those who are concerned are as confused as we are. But the expectations, as we were talking about it, them are very high on the part of Nigerian people. And being specific now, you can see from the interview that we have seen, people emphasize more on food, food security. I'm sorry, I get into proverbs easily. The Yoruba people will say, "Tebiba yoninu ishe bruse." Once you are able to solve the problem of hunger in poverty, the rest is done, because you have less pressure. And the president, in one of his campaigns that later became an instrument of entertainment, said, recruit 50 million youth into the Nigeria army. That's not where I'm going to. But he asked a question rhetorically, say, what are they going to eat? Agbado, cassava. This is the time to implement it.
Yes.
Funny as it may sound, if emphasis is on domestic production of what we consume, we will have been able to start addressing the economic problem from where it takes. Nigeria has land. This Agbado cassava entertainment must become a reality, and this is the time it should be. Let's go massively into the farm.
Indeed.
And then produce food for our people to eat.
Yeah.
Well, he has said that he will establish a National Agricultural Commodity Directorate when it comes to agriculture. And we also saw the investments made by this current administration with regards to agriculture, talking about the Anchor Borrowers Scheme and all of
rice
that.
Pyramid.
Rice pyramid, how we even shut our borders to see if we can get to the level of self-sufficiency and all of it. I wonder how you see the establishment of the National Agricultural Commodities Board changing the narrative with regards to self-sufficiency.
Well, I think from that nomenclature, it's likely to change. It has the capacity, let me put it that way to be safe, to change this scenario. You see, when you have a board, you have a pool of people who sit to critically discuss and analyze issues before they take decisions, right? Informed decisions. That approach shows you that somebody somewhere knows what they are doing. Unlike somebody who just wake up and say, okay, I'm doing this, even without being asked. If I keep saying that, the difference between the last administration and the administration that people are expecting is speaking to the need of the people. Don't impose what you want. Ask the people, feel their pulse, okay? Understand the goings on in the polity and use all these to, formulate your policies. Nobody has the answer. But if you move this way, you assure the people that you are likely to get 70% out of 100. And that's the way to go. No nation solves its own problem completely. But if you move with the people, if you are autochthonous in your approach, if you go to the grassroots to take information and take consultations and contributions, you will solve problem much better than somebody who sits down and appoints somebody because he's fine or he's handsome or he belongs to a religion, a clan, to do what, even when the person has the barest idea of what that person should look at. So it's a matter of approach. The approach must be autochthonous, must be all-inclusive, and then once that method is right, then the end result will give us something fair. It may have room for improvement, but to be fair.
Okay. Before we continue, the running live commentaries in Abuja, Eagle Square. So let's pause a bit and get some background to some fancy footwork that I'm seeing from our gallant men of the military right there.
Very closely. What's your name and your designation?
My name is Fayyad. I'm the group CEO of SAMPRO. We are the strategic partner of the Nigerian Arab Gulf Chamber of Commerce. And we are here to attend the inauguration of Mr. President, and we wish all the best for Nigeria. We are 5th generation in Nigeria, and we believe in Nigeria. It's the land of opportunities. It's the place to be. It's the gem of Africa. And we wish you all the best. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
What do you foresee to be the future relationship between Nigeria and the Arab world?
Well, we see a lot of opportunities in the trade and investment, and we'll see a lot of potential opportunities and business cooperation in terms of trade, in terms of investments, in terms of relationship, which we are working on it since the last 2 years, and we are taking it to the next level, hopefully, with the new president.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And do have a great time. Absolutely. Top dignitaries from around the world are gathered here. The ceremony is scheduled for 10 a.m. and we're going to be here to keep you abreast of everything as it happens. Stay with us. Thank you.
Thank you to Nifemi Oguntoye in Abuja alongside the team up in Abuja there. It's just 3 minutes to 9 o'clock. I actually am enjoying the time check thing that we're doing. It reminds me of my days in radio where time check was everything. Old school radio. I don't even know if nowadays, maybe, I don't know. We got to do but why it is important today is that 10 o'clock is the time everybody's been waiting for when the ceremony proper will begin, and the Chief Justice will get involved, the President will get involved, the President-elect will get just about. That's what we've been waiting for. It's come up to 2 minutes to 9 now, and 10 o'clock, as we've been flagging off there, is the time that all of us in TVC are working towards, the team over there. And by the way, it's not just there. Governors-elect will also
across the other states,
will be sworn in as well. So they will take in their oath of office today. Everybody knows that. Everybody is looking forward to it. Some with great joy, and happiness. Others with trepidation, but it doesn't matter. One way or the other, we've got to make progress. We've got to move forward, and that's what today is all about. Actually, there's so much that we could say, but sort of keeping our gunpowder dry because there are other teams that also are part of this. We are in Lagos here. There's the whole Abuja crew, and we shall be working here because we want our viewers. I think our viewers have come to accept that TVC will do this. When it's an important event like this, TVC is going to be all over it, as they say in Yoruba, like ants over a cube of sugar. I said my in English. I said my Yoruba proverb in English. Okay, then. So,
so expect that TVC will bring to you every detail of this event as it happens at the Eagle Square. We have our correspondents also spread across Nigeria, where we also see governors-elect being inaugurated as well today. So whichever angle we will be covering it from, TVC will definitely be bringing you all of the details as events unfold at the Eagle Square. We will be staying with the Eagle Square for a major part of today because that's where most of the action will be taking place with regards to the president-elect and his vice. So definitely TVC will be on top of every of the coverage today to bring you all the details.
Okay. Now, earlier, Kayode was speaking about the attitude of government sometimes, you know, government and people make up government. And when this was in relation to, you know, our attitude, we were talking about fuel at the time, the removal of the subsidy on fuel. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had said in the course of his campaign that that was a task that would be done. It doesn't matter, you know how difficult, challenging a step it is, we will do it. And, you know, we didn't hear any more about it. Everybody sort of, you know, chilled about it. Until Fashola, the Minister Fashola, former Governor Fashola, a key, you know, man in the same party. Who is in the same party.
Who is very close to Asiwaju.
Yes. Very close to Asiwaju, very close, I imagine, to the president as well.
Yes.
And he is now saying, what Nigerians don't realize is that it's been done. The deed has been done. So I don't know. And Kayode then used that opportunity to comment on sometimes the attitude of government vis-a-vis the people. We were speaking earlier about many people feeling that this government doesn't understand me. They don't feel my pain. They don't know where I am.
That's the disposition of Nigerian people as of today.
Exactly. So here we are. If indeed it has been done, then why wouldn't they just say so? So I guess the Tinubu administration is going to have to work towards this whole matter of better clarity, better communication.
Yes.
Because it was said of the outgoing
Political
administration.
communication.
Yes, political, correct, you know, and timely political communication.
Because when you are roasting granite for a blind man, you must be whistling so that you know that you are not eating the granite. Nigerians are blind, as it were.
This is very, very. Thank you. That was a conquer, Kayode. I love that one. That was a conquer. When you are roasting groundnut for a blind man, you must be whistling.
Because that's the only way the blind man will know
that you're not eating
granite.
all of the things that. But Nigerians want to know what's going on.
They want to be carried along.
They want to be carried along.
And this will give them that sentiment of citizenship that we are talking about. They need that sentiment to be proud of their country, to know that I'm part of things here. Look, and it can be done in several ways.
Right.
Yori, when you employ a citizen of your country, as a country, represented by a ministry or a department, and you give a letter that states that your salary in a month is 30,000 naira, a human being, where you know, of course, that 30,000 naira cannot sustain the life of a man with family in 5 days. So you are simply telling that person that it's not part of you. You don't care about the person. And so he should go to hell and burn to ashes on his survivor and survivor of his family. That must change. What they do elsewhere, I mean, sometimes I laugh at us in Nigeria, including what we do in my union. Every time we have to come to the television to agitate for salary and all
Yes.
that. Nations that are serious-minded don't even need that. You know what you do? You have national